peaceful elections, and after which we'll take questions from the press. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Zainab. Thank you, colleague commissioners, the media, and Sierra Leone at large. This is our first press meeting at this particular location, which we refer to as 2023 SAFU elections hub. The idea about SAFU is a local balance, meaning easy, calm, and it is a deliberate attempt to give message to the public that we at the election management body want to have free and fair, credible and peaceful elections. Ladies and gentlemen, the press, on my right, you can see my colleagues, heads of electoral management bodies in West Africa, as well as SADC regions. They are here to support us because they are here, they know what it means at this particular point in time for every electoral commissioner. So I'm fully prepared and I take solace in their presence with me. They are we have the chair from Malawi, Justice Kachali. He was here before I assumed office. He actually started the review of the Public Elections Act that we have now. He could not complete the job and he was recalled to be the chair of Malawi Electoral Commission. I also have here Chair Aliu, Chairman of IEC of the Gambia. He is the chairman for the Electoral Commission for Gambia. He has been there for quite a long time. He's a famous chairman of our region. He's a doyen. I also have here the chairman, Odrago from Burkina Faso. He's the electoral chairman. He's the chairman for the Electoral Commission in Burkina Faso. I have here a commissioner from Malawi, Commissioner Fabiano. We also have Electoral Service Manager from Malawi again, Wellington. His name is very familiar to us here. We have a community called Wellington. And then we have here Ms. Toure, Mariam. She is the program officer for Konneh. We have Ms. Kolibali as well, communication assistant Konneh. Konneh is the Electoral Commission network in West Africa, to which I'm the second vice president. We also have Agada Michael, a technical advisor from GIZ.
When you're already a great nurse, but you're called...
GIZ is supporting the presence of my colleagues here. We have Mr. Jacob. He's the chairman of the Electoral Commission from SADC. So that's why we have Malawi as well as Tanzania. We also have Olkado from Tanzania and Ibrahim Matuki also from Tanzania. So these are my own soldiers. They are my own personal guests. I guess during the Nigeria elections, so many people knew I was there because the chairman of the INEC, whenever we meet, he will call me, refer to me my best friend. So I have my own network here, so I'm not afraid. This meeting is basically, from now going on, this is going to be our meeting point. And we tend to be having as many press briefing and discussions on to the time we announce the final results. So whenever we invite people for meeting, this is the point. It's a great effort. It's something we learned from other countries, Kenya, Nigeria. We have also brought in other stakeholders, the Human Rights Commission, the Peace Commission, the PPRC, and as well as SLAG. We have created stands or booths for SLAG so that they will have their own space, their own spaces if they want to interview anybody or they want to talk on any issues. So all of this lobby is for the media as well as the back. We will be providing a little bit of light refreshment, but not for everybody, coffee and tea at the end of the day. But we are still setting up the structure for us to be able to at least, we wanted to make this election as fun. You come here, after some time, you go to the beach, have a good food, and come back while we await the results management. And that's our intention, and we'll continue in that regard. So now let me go to the updates where we are. The ballot papers for the conduct of June 24th June 2023 presidential and parliamentary elections, together with results and reconciliation forms, were received on Monday, 19 June 2023, delivered by a special cargo jet at the Leone International Airport. These consignments have been delivered to the 16 electoral districts in readiness for the conduct of the elections. In other words, we have received all the ballot papers and we have taken them to the districts. And the next one in the next 24 hours, we will start the dispatch of these materials to respective polling centers or locations. Included in the ballot papers is the tactile ballot guide, which we have also produced for those who have handicap so that they will be able to participate. As part of our electoral planning, we have to ensure that everybody is catered for. So we have also printed tactile ballot guide that will help the blind to be able to participate and vote for their candidates of their choice. We have provided political parties in the form of electronic copies, the final voter register last week or week before last. The photos, the ID card, the register we provided to political parties are not the same as what we have in terms of the details. For what we will have, my staff or the staff of the ACSL we have at the polling stations or centers, we include all details we obtained from the registrants. In other words, your name, names of your parents, addresses, your telephone number if provided, your ID card number, your voter's ID card number are also embedded in the ECSL registration. But the one we gave to political parties, just the details are the photos of the registrants, the names, and the centers. The reason we did this was to prevent what we learned during the voter registration, where people were photocopying voter registers because they have the details, the ID numbers of the registrants. People created a lot of voters' ID cards to the extent we even arrested a politician and a fake printer of the ballot of the ID card. The matter was submitted to the police and the investigator printed the voter's ID card. The commission took decision that one, we have to securitize this ID card So that will be very difficult for people to just copy as they were. And second, we will not provide political parties the voters' details. So nobody will use the details to go and claim that person is his or her details, because the law provides that even where you don't have voters' ID card, the law allows us to permit you to vote. And because of that, where you go and report that you don't have ID card, we ask you questions, and those questions are the answers we have on the ballot papers, which we'll give to our staff. They will ask you a series of questions. If we are going to give the details to politicians, there is every possibility somebody will train or teach these details to some people, and they will go there, you ask, what's your name? He calls the name, he or she. And when eventually the actual voters will come, somebody might have voted in his or her name. So as a result, we are not going to give the details, personal details, apart from the law prevent for protection of data protection of personal information. The other thing is, we conducted the early voting on the 15th of June 2023 in all district offices across the country. The early voting for the pilgrims was an issue that was brought to our attention by the Hajj Committee for us to put in place arrangements so that people who will be going for the Hajj will vote before the polling day. And the bill was, instrument was prepared, taken to Parliament, it was approved, that for you to be qualified, you have to register with the district office through the Hajj Committee, and you have to indicate that you have registered, you have visa, you have tickets for the Hajj. Initially, the date was 15th of June, but by the 10th of June, we had only received 253 names, which was, to our expectation, was very minimal. We were anticipating something like 600 to 800 based on the last year figures that went for the pilgrimage. So at a point, I wanted to cancel the early voting. But then I realized that if we are going to cancel that, people will say, if you cannot conduct simple elections, how are you going to manage the general elections in a few weeks' time? So we went ahead, and the Hajj, on that Monday, on the 10th, they promised that you have more names to be supplied to us. So we could not prepare the voter register ahead of the elections because of the delays from the Hajj Committee. And there are insinuations that these are people that have received government scholarship. That's not the case. In fact, the first batch of people who register are people who are paying their own tickets. So they are not just the scholarship pilgrims that went to vote. So that's the situation. On the day before the elections, we call a meeting with the political parties, and we informed them that we're going to conduct these elections. And we promise that once we have the final voter register, we will provide them with the copies. We could not receive the register until 11 o'clock. Sorry, we could not finalize the register until 11 o'clock midnight, and our staff needed to go. However, the political parties eventually were there. They witnessed the process. I think the highest turnout across the district is 36. In total, only 70% of the 300 and few numbers that registered participated in the polling. Many did not go. We have released the press statement on that, the outcome of that as well. For this election, we have a total of 3,374,258 ballot sheets, which were delivered with a 5% buffer for any contingencies in line with our procedure. 5% of the 3,374,258. That's the total number of ballots printed for this election. As I mentioned, they are all now at our district offices. The commission, another issue is we promised during the voter registration that we accepted the voter registration photos. Some of them were very terrible. But this was as a result of the compression of the quality, compression of the data to be able to upload the 5 million data we received from the National Civil Register for the purposes of voter registration. And that reduced the quality of the photo. And these photos were obtained from the registration that was done of the civil registration and the voter registration in 2017. In other words, the photos, the details that we extracted, majority of them, except those who were not in the system, were photos taken from 2017 register. But however, we promised that we'll get back to the public and inform them how we're able to resolve these issues with regard to the photo, bad quality of the photo. The first approach we did was to ensure that we print the voter register and the quality that we'll be able to easily identify the voters when they appear. And therefore, we've broadened or enlarged the photos of the registrants on our register. We also printed these photos in colored, so there is going to be no black and white photos on the voter register. In addition, we also had engagement with the vendor to print for us 19,612 reprints, 19,612 cards. And these cards are for people who were nominated from presidential to council. The total figure for this is 4,779. And there were people who were relocated, who asked for transfer of their votes. In other words, some people went to the center, could not find their name, their photo, the ID card were found somewhere else, and we gave them attestations. This group of categories also, we have printed a total of 11,302 as relocated registrants. In other words, they are now in their centers where they actually register, and we have printed their cards. We also printed 3,301 of the photoless. All those who went and their photos were not on the register or on their ID card were given the photoless ID card, and they were given attestation. So we have a total of 3,301. There are also another group of people who requested to be transferred. That's 230. So in total, we have 19,612 reprinted cards, which we have dispatched to our district offices. If we are giving attestation for photoless ID card, or you requested for transfer, or you are a nominated candidate for any of the positions, you can go to our district offices before the election or after the election to return the photoless card or to return the card we have given you with a bad quality, and you will get the new card. This will begin tomorrow, ending on the 24th. But after that, if you still want to change your card, if you are part of that category, you can go there. But you cannot just go there. You have to go with the attestation and the photoless ID card, if that's the category you are. We have concluded training of polling staff, of polling and tallying staff, which started this week. The final day is today. We have also deployed sensitive and non-sensitive material across the country. Booth construction and the installation of ramps, planks is ongoing at the polling centers in order to make disabled friendly for the polling and counting processes. These are all part of the initiative, inclusive approach So we are bringing everybody on board. The regional Talent Center is set up and is complete. Transmission between regional Talent Center and the national Talent Center is also completed and tested. In other words, we have created talent centers at regional levels. I know there is this question of why not district level? Simply because at this point we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have permanent building. We are staying in rented properties in all the districts, but for the regional offices. In other words, we have a permanent structure, regional office in Konneh, Bo, McKinney, Poloko, and Western region. So it is easier for us to set up talent centers at our regional offices for logistics and personnel reasons. Once we are able to establish to have permanent structure and in future in all districts, be rest assured we'll put in a system that will be able to start doing the district talent system. This is not the first time. In 2012, we did the regional talent. In 2018, we also did the regional talent. As a matter of fact, this is one of the issues that we're taking to Supreme Court after the 2018 elections. And the decisions by the Supreme Court is there that gives us the mandate that there was no violation, and the tallying of result at the regional center will not invalidate the outcome of the results. Accreditation of election stakeholders is ongoing at both national and district levels. Political parties are collecting their ID cards, their accreditation cards at district offices. We are also giving out at national office accreditation to international partners and some categories of observers. For Bintumani, we are developing special accreditation. It is not going to be a general purpose in terms of attending, especially after the polls. We are going to ensure that if you are supposed to be here, you are properly accredited. So we have requested SLAJ to give us the names of the journalists that will be attending our meetings so that we can prepare the appropriate accreditation. The security is going to be very tight in this environment after the poll, or maybe before even the poll, starting tomorrow. With all these details, it means the election, June 24, is here. We have printed, we have delivered all logistics, all materials, and by tomorrow, the dispatch will start from district to the chiefdom, and chiefdom to polling centers, and the polls will begin 7 o'clock Saturday, inshallah. I also want to inform you that we know that this is a period of rains, and therefore, when we were identifying centers, we identified schools and local court barriers as our polling centers. For those areas without these facilities, we are going to construct booths that we at least be able to protect our materials and logistics. And we have encouraged our staff to engage communities where people are going to assemble if it rains, so that they can go somewhere and sit where they come and process them for them to vote. So in general, this is the updates we have. We might be having another press briefing tomorrow, next tomorrow, on the day of the polling, but we'll communicate to the media whenever, we'll give sufficient time whenever we want to address the media or the public. Thank you. We're now open to questions, discussions. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So Do we have any question for the chairman? Tafufana.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, quick questions. We understand that there was a meeting between the EMBs and the APC on Monday and on Tuesday regarding their concerns relating to the Electoral Commission. And I understand that at the end of the meeting yesterday, there were suggestions for your consideration, namely that you should consider their demands around that the voter register should be looked at, that no software application parallel systems should be allowed, that manual counting only should be what should obtain. Those are the ones relating to the commission. Something which has been brought to your notice. If so, what's your decision? And related to that is the fact that in 2018, the voter roll had the birthday of the registrant. And in the 2023 one, there is no birthday indicated there. Is there any reason why that is? Thank you.
Wow. My explanation was exhaustive. Okay, thank you so much, Umar. In terms of the management and tally of the results, we are guided by the provisions in the Electoral Public Elections Act. 91, 92, 1 and 2. In 2012, these provisions were under 94, 1 and 2 in the 2012 Public Elections Act. The same provision relating to the tally of results, which says after the polls are closed, results are read at the polling station. The polling station presiding officer record the details of the ballot obtained or the votes cast in favor of all political parties and other administrative details of the ballot. They certify at that level. In other words, they sign and stamp. Opportunity will be given to political parties, agents present to also sign. And once they have signed this ballot result reconciliation form, the first copy, original copy, is put into what we call T-bag, the tamper evidence bag. And the second copy is also put into another T-bag. The original copy is taken to the tally center, and the second copy is taken to the district office. The third copy is given to the highest candidate that pulls the votes in that station. The fourth copy is given to the second highest, and the third copy is given to another candidate. And the last copy of the 6 of the pages per one result reconciliation form is posted at the polling station. That has been the procedure at the polling station level. And once these results are taken, then the polling center manager will collect these results from all the presiding officers in that center and hand these results to the ward coordinator that we refer now to as election coordinator. Because we don't have wards, we are using proportional representation. These ward coordinators will now collect all the results reconciliation forms in this tampered evidence bag and takes them to the district returning officer in their offices. The district returning officer or district election managers will collect all the results in his or her district and then we transport this result physically to the national tally centers. To the regional tally centers, where the results will be processed. In all of this, the political parties are present at the police station. They are also present at the regional tally centers. The regional tally centers, each district returning officer will supervise the tally. Actually, the law says the only mentioning of tally is at national level, which says the national returning officer will tally. But over the years, because of best practice, we tally results at the regional center. It was the same procedure in 2012 and the same procedure in 2018. So the issue, one of the issues being requested by the All People's Congress is for us to do the tally, or the district returning officers to certify the results in their offices. As I mentioned, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the resources, and we don't have the time to set up system at all the 16 districts for them to do that. So therefore, we focus at the regional centers. And they will supervise the tally of their results in their districts and certify these results to the regional returning officers, who are the commissioners. So each district returning officer will be in charge of the management of the certification of their results. And the issue of giving them these results, once it is certified, they will then give copies to the political parties at the regional tally centers. Well, if they prefer, the district returning officer will take all of these results back to their district offices and give to political party agents. And therefore, we have created offices for all of our district team who are going to be there to manage the tally district by district. So when at the completion of the certification by the district team, then the regional returning officers will take the physical results, in other words, the compiled results, to the national returning officer, where I will do the tally for the national results, for the announcement of the outcome of the polls. So that's the procedure. The question of us using electronic transmission. Since I assumed office, I've tried to introduce technology a little bit. We use technology to do voter registration. We use technology to capture people's whose photos we have photoless when we are issuing the voters' ID card, and no complaint was made. If we had not used the technology when we are issuing the ID card, we will not be able to have printed some of the photoless voters' ID card. So it's not new in terms of technology in the electoral cycle for this particular cycle. So we thought it's wise for administrative purposes, while the result reconciliation forms are being collected at district level by the work coordinators, we develop an app into a tablet, the same tablet we use for the voter ID card issuing period, so that the staff, the polling center managers, will take photos of the results signed by the presiding officer and signed by the political parties, and that photo will be sent where internet exists to our system for administrative purposes. While we are doing the manual tally, we also have the backup of the electronic version. So if there are inconsistencies, we have at least 3 sources that we can identify, we can verify from. We have one copy at the district, we have one copy, the original copy at the tally center, and then we have electronic version of the results. So basically, that's the procedure we are going to use for this tally. We are not saying we are going to use electronic as it comes. We say these are the results, we pull out the results without verification. In terms of the tally, the political parties, observers are going to be present. They are going to be there to see how we are going to tally. If they have issues, we have provided for them to request, for them to check any result they want to verify. Even if we have processed it, we can go to that result and pull it for them to verify. So we have done all of this to ensure the credibility of the process. And this is something we just bring it out. We had discussed it, our PPSC meeting. We had live demonstration of this procedure in the presence of the political parties. But I think this is not unusual. The current government, I understand, they were also crying about the result tally management system. So it is also not surprised the opposition now is questioning the tally system. But at the end of the day, what is important is for us to be transparent, for people to see what we're doing, and we are not operating in a secret society, so that at the end, when we announce the results, will be accepted. The other reason for not providing the date of birth is the same issue that we learned during the voter registration. During the voter registration, some people were telling the kids to go and indicate their age of birth. That would be in line with the requirement for 18 years. Many of those that we remove from the voter registers, their ages were 204, 205. They will go to the center to register. You ask them, what's your age? March 204, March 205, or May 204, or 205. And also, that notwithstanding, people were also creating birth certificates, as I mentioned. And one of the criteria, we will check whether you are the voter that present yourself at the poll, is to ask you your age of birth. So if we are going to give this to political parties, we have seen it in the in primary chieftaincy elections, even during the last PCMP elections. Somebody will go and claim to be the person on the register. Having given the clearance for him to register, him or her to register, the actual person will come with another receipt. So to avoid all of this, we say we are not going to provide personal details, which is a likely possibility, which is a possibility for people to go and claim identity which they are not. So that's the reason we have limited the details on the register we have given to political parties.
Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Commissioner. So the opposition, we are supposed to deliver a letter with their concern to you today. I want to know if they have done that, and if yes, what's in that letter. And also, I'm concerned about security of the ECSL offices across the country. I think I've witnessed 3 elections. This one seemed unique. We are in almost 2 days to elections. We hear lots of threats and violence against ECSL, the offices, and the like. So I want to know how secure are the offices of ECSL, and on polling day, how secure are all of us who will be voting? And the last one is, are you bothered about all the allegations, counter-allegations made against you in particular, and the 5 other commissioners who, according to the opposition, are supposed to resign before Saturday? Thank you very much.
Ali Amarasu, Independent Observer newspaper. Mr. Chairperson, based on the systems, especially the use of the technology, and based on the state of preparedness, if also explained, within how many days will the final result be announced?
For the Mogiba content, I write for the Calabash newspaper. Commissioner, there's concerns about the printing of the ballot papers. In your submission, you made mention of the early voting, and that new, to be specific, raised some issues about the printing of the ballot papers, of which they said that they confirmed that the ballot papers been printed here in Sierra Leone, but ECSA was unable to actually tell how many ballot papers were printed and how those ballot papers used, if there's any remaining or there's any issue with the ballot paper. So I would like you to comment on the printing of the ballot papers in two countries, as they said, Sierra Leone and South Africa.
I am Joseph Toure from the SLBC. Mr. Commissioner, you know, you are talking about using technology, and one of the negatives of modern day technology is that it can be hacked. You know, there are, even in the United States of America, there are allegations that President Trump won because some other outsiders helped him to hack the system. So at the end of the day, what's the assurance that this technology you are going to use will not be hacked by outsiders?
Thank you again. For security of our offices, we have, in collaboration with the security sector, the police and the military, they have deployed at least a reasonable number of security personnel at our districts across the country. The ballot papers were transported by military and police and our staff. As we speak, we are getting rumors or information that there has been an attempt by some people to go to our offices, but the police are there to ensure that nobody gets in. More in the north. We are following up the issue. If there are any updates, we will let the public know. The allegations against us, we are asked to resign because of all the demand that, one, we should provide comprehensive details of the voter register, including signatures, dates of birth, addresses, telephone number, and the code. And two, we should allow independent auditors to audit the system. And three, we should not use the electronic transmission of results. And four, we should not tally results, or in other words, results should be certified at district offices. These are issues we responded to in this statement, which we will share with the media. In our last meeting we had with the All People's Congress and as facilitated by the PPRC and the Peace Commission. These issues, we have spoken about it severally in the PPRC meeting and the individual one-on-one meeting with the All People's Congress. As I've explained to other people, the problem we have with the All People's Congress is that when I assumed office, since I came to that office, I've interacted with four sets of senior executive of the party. When I assumed office, we had the old executive. We are interacting with Ambassador Yansane as Secretary General. And up to the time we started the voter registration, or until the time the court created the interim executive, we are working very cordially. To the extent when we took one of the commissioners of parliament, both APC and SLPP commended us for all the by-elections we have conducted, because all parties, both APC and SLPP, won seats for these by-elections. Then we have the interim executive created by court, which we worked with during the voter registration. All the registration centers were covered and observed by representatives of the All People's Congress. I have correspondence to that. They were deployed. When we came to the due duplication of the data, we have representatives at the warehouse where they were there. They observed for the rest of the 2 weeks that we took to do the deduplication. Now we have the current executives, and they are asking for something which we assume the interim executive must have briefed them. They requested, the first request that we received in terms of the voter register was for us to provide disaggregated data by center. And when you say disaggregated data, that's center, the figures per center and per station. And our response to them at the time was, after the final figures have been released, there are still some administrative issues that need to be addressed, which are provided for in the Act. And we realized before we issue.
When migraine strikes, are the trade-offs of treating worth it? Ubrelvy is another option. It quickly stops migraine in its tracks. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Allergic reactions to Ubrelvy can happen. Most common side effects were nausea and sleepiness. Ask about Ubrelvy.
The Act. And we realized before we issued the voter registration card, there were also the issue of people being mismatched, being misplaced. In other words, moved from one based on the data collation, transfer to another location. And the law also provides us to do transfer. And what the law says, after the final figure, if you want to change your location, once you receive that application, we are obliged to respond to you within 3 months. So before the printing of the voter register, all those who requested for transfer, we needed to act on them. So these were the reasons we told them that we cannot give them the voter register, the voter figures at the time. And once we completed and printed the voter register, we published the final figures in terms of the centers and the stations. One thing I want to mention here, this final figure, the final total figure never changed. What changed was the district figures because of this movement, because of the mismatch. And we also came out with a public statement on that there was a claim that we have moved people from northwest to southeast. As a matter of fact, the net figure in terms of this transfer is more advantageous to the northwest than the southeast. So these are some of the demands they have requested, which we say we have done nothing wrong. There's no law that says we give you these details you are requiring for. But over the years, it has become a tradition that we give voter register to political parties, and that's what we have done. The other issue they have demanded is for us to reprint the entire 3,700 and something voters card because of the bad quality. I had explained how we have addressed those issues. They have also asked us not to use the transmission of results, and we have told them that we are using this transmission, electronic transmission, for our administrative purposes and for further quality checks. If we have electronic, we have the other version, physical version, it will be easier to verify. If we had not used the electronics and the hard copy during the voter registration, there were going to be a hell lot of problems for us. Because when we did the exhibition, there were a whole lot of problems. So we went back to our electronic as well as the manual to confirm the registration figures. And so therefore, we say the introduction of the transmission is a parallel procedure. But the precedent, the priority is on the manual data that will be presented at the tally centers. The other issue is the tally at district level. We have clearly said we cannot do the tally at the district level because of all what I've explained. The system is not there, the infrastructure is not there. And therefore, as we speak, this is the stand, and they say all of these demands we have to be met, otherwise we resign, and we have not resigned. and we will not resign. In the commission, we are ready for this election. We continue to engage if there are rooms for engagement, and we'll continue to encourage the All People's Congress that this election, if they are participating, their participation is crucial for the peace of this country. They say the peace of this country is in my hand. They also have a role to play to ensure that we maintain the peace. Let them go to the polls. Let the poll speak. We have been transparent, we have been inclusive, and we have demonstrated that. And as a commission, this commission has conducted 4 or 5 elections. 80% of the staff are still there. The same people, the same institution. So it's the same people that are going to conduct this election. So let them join us and go to the polls. SAFU. We vote SAFU. We count SAFU. We listen SAFU. We announce SAFU. If you win, you bring everybody for dance SAFU. If you're not happy, you follow the law SAFU. But Salone must go before. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is how we'll bring the cutting on today's press conference.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody will get for taken to the next carry forward. Anyway, the printing of the ballot papers, as I explained the procedure for the early voting or the pre-game voting, we printed the ballot papers in Sierra Leone. We printed from Roland Enterprises. We disclosed this information at PPSC meeting that we are going to print the ballot papers for the pre-games. For the pre-games, not the general paper, the general elections. Please, let nobody know go say, Commissioner said they had a printer. The 325 ballot papers we printed for the pre-games were all printed here. The reason is the anticipated arrival of the ballots printed in South Africa was 17 or 19. So therefore, there was no possibility for this ballot to be printed in South Africa and then be transported here for the early voting. So we took decision to print the ballots for the early voting. And the features of these ballots are not the same as what we have. These ballots are also kept at our district offices. After the poll, they are sealed. The political parties have the sealed number. On the polling day, we are going to take these boxes to the last station which we have identified in the district and then mix it up with the general ballot. The reason is we don't want people to know this group of people voted for these candidates. So in other words, we are going to count them on the same day, at the same time, in a specified location which we have shared, where we are going to count this ballot. At the end of the day, the results will be one result. So we printed the early voting ballots in Sierra Leone. The rest of the ballots for presidential, parliamentary, local council were printed in South Africa. That's why when they arrive here, we call press and other stakeholders, political parties, to observe the arrival of the ballot. And as we speak, some of them have become guards at our offices to ensure that nothing gets to these ballots. The other issue is the announcement of results. Time frame. What I can promise you, we have put systems in place to ensure we reduce the time and the anxiety compared to previous elections. But I am afraid to give you a definitive time frame. We saw that in one of our neighboring countries where time was given, and then it became a pressure for the institution. So I don't want to say after the polls we announce results in 12 hours, in 48 hours, or in 36 hours. But what I can promise you, we have put systems in place to ensure that At least we reduce the time for the announcement of results compared to the previous elections. Any other one? So if we not get any other one, I want now for talk to Sierra Leoneans. Maybe I'll get me media champion. They tell me, say, they prepare special speech where I go read her in Creole. So I want for talk to Sierra Leoneans. Sierra Leone don't come far. Since the war ends, we don't conduct 5 elections, or this will make the 5th elections. These elections, political parties, both major political parties, they don't win. With the election and the government in power conductor. We don't resist for go back to the wartime. Ambassador Chambers informed me, say, I read a book where they say Salone and Liberia, we don't get out of the wood for go back to conflict, because after the war, we don't spend over 2 decades. And therefore, the peace of this country is not in my hand, me one me hand. I get responsibility for ensure that we conduct free, fair, inclusive, and credible elections. That's a promise as a commission we have made to the public. That's our responsibility. It is also our responsibility to communicate our procedures and processes to stakeholders, including political parties. It is also our responsibility to talk and sit down.
Head out for a 1-hour run, and
our responsibility to talk and sit down with the political parties to address issues. What we not go accept is when we sit down, we talk, then when you come out, you go talk different thing. Because probably you get different audience. We, your audience, na Sierra Leone, we don't do our best for ensure say we conduct this election peacefully. So we call on the political parties, more especially the All People's Congress. Our doors are still open, but the demand that we don't give, if we say we are going back to that, it's like we get for go back for conduct another fresh registration, for print a new ID card, and set up. We are not practicable. And the option to that, not for hold the election on June 24th. And the consequences of that, we'll get constitutional crisis. Anytime after July 24th, we'll not get government. The law say 3 months where Parliament don't close. Electoral Commission for conduct election. And Parliament close in May, so the 3 months, they end July. So by all means, we forget a new president. By all means, we forget a new government. By all means, we forget Parliament. Otherwise, we'll not go get Parliament. Otherwise, unless you want to say, let it be ruled by decrees, we are not saying that that's why we want to go. So Sierra Leoneans, when join we, let us participate in this election. SAFU, let us conduct, let we go vote SAFU. Let us talk to we brothers them where they feel agree. Say this is not to the last election, and this is not to do or die. As one person be talking, Sierra Leone will continue for leave after June 24. Thank you, Sierra Leoneans. I will address you back in the short time before the poll. Thank you.
Okay. Just to on the accreditation to the SAFUL Hub, it will be nice for you to send in your request with your pictures, but will have to be verified by SLAJ, because we do not want to have a situation where we have too many people coming in, posing as journalists, of which they're not. So for security reasons, we'll have to forward that to SLAJ, and they will have to vet your organization. At the end of the day, you'll be accredited. But for time, I advise you sending your request with your the soft copy of a passport size picture to the Deputy Director of Media, Mr. Jones. you all have his WhatsApp number. So do not send it in the media forum. PV, just send it to him directly. So he'll be able to come back to you with all the answers. God bless us all. Yes, yes. Yes. The one from the headquarters is for election observation. This is elections. This SAFU hub is totally different from the activities that will be done out. So at liberty to just make yourselves comfortable. If you want, you move your rooms to this SAFU hub, and I believe the elections will go and we'll enjoy ourselves. Yes. God bless you.